Simple Sean, and we reluctantly react as tinfoil hat time. Welcome to the simulation. Um, so basically, I have an idea that if the goal is for me to show what we're selling, then I need to do all of the things that I hope somebody will do if I get somebody to buy. Um, this is my unhealthy obsession. This is my we. I think that it is best explained by explaining the post that I make every day, and I guess there's a method to the madness, and it all means something. Uh, like if you look, top line is always going to be what I think that I'm going to talk about for the day. It's the plan, it's the purpose that we're reacting with. And I was just thinking, like, never, like the third place initiative, the idea of this third place, like I am never going to build it. Like I'm never going to be the one to build it. I'm always going to be the one that describes it and hopes that smarter people will listen and uh, and make it happen and follow listen to me because I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I also know that I jump the shark a lot of places, and take a Steve Jobs approach to things. And it's like I don't care that you think that this is the way it is. I want you to find a way around it. Um, and what will that'll show later on. But I want to build this place because there are people in positions that want to do things that they're afraid to try, or they don't feel that they have the ability to do it. So I'm going to teach myself how to um, 3D design all of the little madness things in my head, and explain it while I do, and just basically let you into the dark side of my head is what this reactive and the reactive housing um, is an homage to the economy that is created or the government or the society that's being created. We label things as like communism and capitalism and whatever it is, like whatever ism this is, um, the main we turn it into science where we make the reaction equal but opposite, right? Like we think the the statement, the law, or whatever they say, every action has an equal but opposite reaction. In a vacuum where everything is balanced, the reaction is going to be equal and opposite, but we don't operate. We operate in the vacuum of Earth, but inside of our individual systems, we're not inside of a vacuum. So the reaction is not always equal but opposite. See capitalism, see communism. Um, the action that the core is making is not getting the reaction from the above. So that's where universal basic action comes in. That's the title I use, hijacking the universal basic income thing. But basically, the statement of if you if you work a certain amount of time benefiting society, like that's the key term to that. Like and whatever, we'll get into that later. Then you should get there should be a basic response, right? Like if you work 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, benefiting society, society should provide you with food, shelter, and clothing. I believe that to be true. If you do not provide 4 hours of societal beneficial service, then you don't get those, and you get abruptly removed. Like the reactions are clear. So, reactive housing is the reaction to um, stop thinking about nobody cares. Like, it's weird that I'm like in the middle of this arguing with myself saying this is a terrible idea. Like, we know it's a terrible idea, um, but we don't care. Like, that's what we're selling. Like, I know this is dumb. I know this doesn't have. I'm reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and they have the improbability drive. Like, this is an improbability drive action, where it's 1 to 6,000,000, 7,000, or whatever. Just like as good of odds as uh, the two people getting picked up in space. Now, if you read the book, you'll understand that. But like, it's really, 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 really thin. But you're saying there's a chance. But I'm not doing it like the whale story that I said yesterday. I'm not doing it for the win. I'm doing it because this is what I do. We'll get to that later. Third place information bureau is just a joke on everybody. Um, the next part is just the obnoxiousness of most like sporting events or events. It's all a bunch of sponsorship. So third place information bureau is one of the branches of government that's sponsoring and putting on this epically horrible production. Tinfoil hat time production. That's me, essentially. The one that everyone in the universe is aware of is tinfoil hat time. And if this goes well, I would be able to do things for myself and have an entity to do things for myself, and that would be with basically your own business. And mine is tinfoil hot time production. Because we need to get ready for the aliens, we also need to specify what planet we're doing this from. So it's Earth for now. I do believe that Elon Musk's purpose is to go to Mars, and we're at that tipping point where we're going to need to offload all of the too much tech to somewhere. And I think we realize we figure out where that line we want to exist with technology is, and we send Elon and those who want to continue to explore that to Mars, so they can figure that shit out there. And it'll be a clean break, and figure it out from there. But I do think aliens are real. I think we are not alone, and we want to be able to communicate with these people, these things, these extraterrestrial beings. We have to establish some sentiment of time. And first thing you need for time is a location, because time is different wherever it is, and we're on Earth right now. Mental masturbating. It's usually me talking to myself, and if you play with yourself, you're masturbating. But I'm not doing it physically with my smaller head. I'm doing it metaphorically with my bigger head. The Pat McAfee show Speakeasy is just I don't know. It's the most. It is. He is the Pat McAfee show is the most prevalent entity that we observe in my universe, the equivalent to the North Star. He's the brightest star in the sky in my interaction with the world. And brightness doesn't necessarily mean good. It just means that if you're looking at a heat graph, that he's the whitest one. He's a white. And then it's featuring the 3 levels of me. My title is the Eternal Chancellor and the Unofficial Solicited Unconfirmed Executive League of Fans, which is the Executive League of Fans are just going to be the people that build it, the people in charge. That's the executive team. And then Dogpot, I thought that was funny, or Godpot. I think it's funny on 2 levels. One, if you look at the fractals of the universe, everything is a reflection of another thing. So everything may look the same, but it's off, like looking in a mirror, like you raise your right hand and it's the left hand that comes up of the reflection. Like those little idioms are just the reflections. And so if you reflect what the most, the tip of the spear in a way that you can say to everybody, it would be top dog. So since I'm the reflection of that, I would be, if you, the reflection of it is going to be backwards, and if you type it backwards, you get God pot, which I find amusing because I smoke a lot of pot and talk to God. Uh, and so that I find amusing. Woo wee out the woohoo. Woo wee, if you're into Eastern philosophy, is to do by doing nothing. So like, this is what I do when I'm sitting around and nobody's around. Is like I just solve problems, and um, in reality, that's a whole different thing. A Be Where Your Feet Are jam. I don't remember, like, there was it Spike Lee that used to do like Spike Lee jams, and like everybody has like a weird name, and I think Be Where Your Feet Are is an interesting thing to get out there, where you just kind of like live where you're at, stop asking why or who, and just um, enjoy the experience for all that it is and all that it isn't. Um, Sometimes you really, really want to be what it isn't, and sometimes accepting what it is. And then the simulation. This is a simulation. I think we do live in a simulation. Everything is a cycle, but um, all the different parts of the simulation operate a little bit differently. So that's why eventually everything is going to either all become one or separate into different pieces, thus ending. And that's just part of the cycle, is death, the purpose, the meaning of life. Um, the purpose of consciousness is to destroy everything that doesn't provide you with the experience that you're looking for. Um, so we over explained why we're doing this, but basically we're gonna fucking figure out how to draw this bullshit and go from there. And I do a lot of mansplaining because I'm a retard. And that's what I need to do here. And now, so that's explained. And the number system, oh, this is kind of cool. So you'll see this number system. Um, the farthest number is going to be the day inside of the progress. So every 364 days will reset to a different year, which will be this number up here, but like 28 days. 0 month is January. So this is something that I came up with. Like I always feel that there were 13 months, but it was 0 through 12, and so everybody thinks that 0 is nothing. So they drop it off, but 0 is like everything. 0 is that there is no difference from the things that you know and you don't know. Like 0 is your unit. And dropping it off kind of fucked everything up, and that's why we have leap years instead of 364 days and a 0 day, where it's just like the beginning and the end of everything. But you'll see that change. This will go to 28, and then this will go to 12, and then when we get to 12, it'll drop back to 0, 0, and then we'll up the year, or we'll up the. Well, at that point, we have to change the um, the version number. It'll be 0.1 and then go from there. But that's how that goes. Does it make sense? I don't know, but we need to change time so we can can uh, 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 so we can. I guess I should do this in FreeCAD. Yeah. I think we can sketch in FreeCAD, so let's do that. So my choices here are FreeCAD or Blender. I think I'm gonna draw it in Blender, but I'm gonna draw it for everybody else in in FreeCAD because I want to learn how to use Blender. It's an animation thing as well, and I have some uses for animation, and like I don't I don't really have any use for learning FreeCAD beyond what I already know of it. So I guess let's fucking figure this out. Can you do sketches in Blender? Because I guess if you're gonna learn how to use, like, you know how to do sketches in Blender or in FreeCAD already, so fucking figure out Blender, grease pencil, what ounces are annotation, lightweight, freehand notes, sculpt mode with draw brush, capable of sketching usually once you get comfortable with grease pencil, quicker start guides. Mm. Mm. Yeah, let's fucking use grease pencil. Let's figure out grease pencil then. Boot this thing up, see what happens. So the premise of I've put a lot of thought into the nonsense that is the third place, and like it ooh um yeah, so it looks weird. So I've thought a lot about what's happening, and we get into a lot of details. So basically, what we're gonna build is we're gonna build a house. And it is going to have a solar trough up here. Now what that looks like from the side is the solar trough. This is a little door handle. So you know that's the front. And then this is a window because it's a side. Doop, 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 doop. So the solar trough is like a little C thing here. And it's a mirror that shines on a little tube here. And that little tube runs doop, 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 doop. Doesn't necessarily have to go this way, but like just to show, it goes a tube that goes down. And that's on both sides. And what happens is the water will run up here, run through this tube, get really, really, really hot, go down this tube, heat something up, and we're going to make that heat into all of the shit we need to live off of. I think that Elon Musk has it wrong. The sun does not provide us with electricity. The sun provides us with heat, and we should focus on gathering as much of that heat as we can. Because from that heat, you can make whatever you need, because not everything needs to be electrical. So what we're going to do with the heat is, oh no, I don't know what's happening. Oh shit. Uh-oh. Is it 0? Okay. Whew. Fuck. So what this is going to connect to is we need a heat battery, sand battery, and this will go into boom, and this sand. It's an A. Whoop. Battery or whatever. Doesn't have to be sand. Just has to be heat battery. Bat. All right, we'll call it a heat battery. Heat. Now, understand that this is just one house, and this is going to be the design of the first houses as individuals, but as houses come together, they will make up HOAs, and HOAs will start to, if because that goal is to make it so the houses are generating more motion, because I think we need to work more on motion than we need to work on electricity. The biggest problem that we have, the resource that they feel that we're going to run out of the quickest is going to be water. So if we're going to run out of water, then we need to start being hoarders of water. And if you want to hoard water, how do you do that? And you need to create large areas for it to settle in where it's not going to run off uncontrollably. But the problem that you have with that is then you can't have water just sitting. If anybody who's lived near a swamp or anything, like if you have water that just sits and doesn't move, you get all sorts of bugs and bacteria and whatnot existing inside of it. So the water is actually the electrical battery in the system. Um, so how do you make, if the goal is to create motion in water, um, which is what you're trying to do, how do you do that? And my thought process to that is you make a Stirling engine to turn a pump. Um, so from the sand battery, the the hot end of the Stirling engine will sit inside of the sand battery, and and Stirling, I don't know how to spell this. Is there a text button? Wing engine. Now, the Stirling engine has a hot side and a cold side, and hopefully we'll have more, we'll be able to gather more heat into this battery than we're able to use, and we'll get there. How we'll get there in a moment, but like the other thing that we need or that we can use is back in the 20s and 30s or whatever. Like there used to be your freezer didn't run, or in your refrigerator didn't run off of Freon. Neither did your your refrigerator, I don't think. I think it's something called absorption cooling. Oh no, I'm not showing this, am I? Oh, fucking stoner doing shit. My bad, dude. That's dumb. Where this is why you blender. Sorry, boys and girls. This is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, yeah, I want that one. This is my artwork. No, don't want to move that. Um, boop, boop. Oop. Oh no. All right, we'll do this. All right, so there's my artwork. Now it'll make more sense. So I don't think you can see the cursor, but like the Stirling engine, the hot air, the Stirling engine operates off of making one side super hot or as hot as you can, and then keeping the other side as cool as you can. And there's like pressure differentiation. I don't fucking know how that works, but it's like some magic happens in here where stopper will like move back and forth because the hot air makes the cold air. Hot air expands and then pushes the cold air together, and when it gets too close together, it needs to expand because it comes and then pushes it back the other way, and it kind of starts moving back and forth, and you get an engine going. There's probably fine tuning that goes into that. We don't really care, but like that's what we're going to have is that Stirling engine. But if we get the sand battery hot enough, there is the adaptive cooling, and it works similarly, but instead of if you can get the adaptive cooling side hot enough, adaptive cooling, and this is a Steve Jobs part of life. Like, yes, you're going to come up with problems, but those aren't my problems. You need to fix them. Type of situation. Like, you need to boil the water and the ammonia. You need to get the ammonia. Um, um, you need to get the ammonia, but and all that stuff. Like, I feel like those are all solvable problems and things that you just like that you can solve that. Those are solved. Like, may cost $1 million, but that's my problem to get that. Like, how do we make it happen? It doesn't matter about anything other than can it happen and how does it happen, and then we solve those problems after that. But like the adaptive cooling system, if you're able to heat it up, I mean, the easy fix for that is like you use the methane or wood fire to burn it, um, it, it, to make it work until it heats up good enough. Like you do all those things, um, and um, there's no such thing as free electricity or free anything. So sometimes you'll need to add additional inputs other than the sun in this system, possibly. Um, that could be needed from time to time. Um, but that was like I understand that like this is the problem that you guys are like people come up with when I say it, like it's not a problem, but I don't need you. That's not your problem. If you think it's a problem, then you need to figure out somebody to fix it. If you don't know how to do it, like if you don't see a solution to it, then find somebody that does. Is kind of like my approach to all of this. But like the adaptive cooling thing would create cold air, it like freezes shit. Like the World Fair, the dude was like running this in the middle of the World Fair in New York City and making ice cubes on the sidewalk or whatever. So like he was like flame on one side, pooping out ice on the other side. So if you're able to make ice which is at 0 degrees Celsius, then you could cool the cold side of the Stirling engine as well. And from the numbers that you have come up with this solar system that it's able to get heat into the sand battery, you're able to get temperatures somewhere between 3 and 500 degrees Celsius. So you have the differentiation of somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 degrees, which should be plenty to generate about 8 to 12 kilowatts of power, I think. I don't remember, but that could be true. So basically, you create the motion here. Now, this is where things get wild. So Stirling engine, I want to be a pump first off, and then it's going to pump water at a certain pace. It needs to pump water into our water system at a certain pace. So there is about 1 million gallons of water on every property. Oh, shit, I can't put that there. Oh, yeah, I can. This is our water. And this is a whole system. Like it is actually underneath the house. It would be down here under everything. This is the water. And it kind of flows throughout the property. So it pumps water. I think it needs to pump like 300 gallons a minute. Maybe. I don't remember. And you say that's a lot for a pump. That's a big ass pump. I'm like, is it a big ass pump? Is it several little pumps? Is it like, are you able to do it with just like taking the momentum from this and just like make it its own little pump? So if you get this thing at like 3,000 RPM and put a little stopper on one side and like basically do what a pump does, like punch, retract. Is it, are you without, that way you don't lose any of the motion energy? Like, is that a possibility? Like, that's kind of the things that I asked, but like, there needs to be something to move 300. I think it's I don't know what it is, but you're going to be moving this from the front of the property to about a 10-foot to 15-foot height, and there'll be a large. This is your pool, so every house will have a pool, and a moat. And I don't know if it's a moat or if, I think it's not going to be a moat. I think it ends up being like a koi pond, or it ends up being a pond where you're able to grow either food, or you can make it into like a those Japanese gardens or whatever, like some variant of that. But anyway, there's a ton of fucking water, but you pump it up into this pool here, which then will run, that water will come down a, it basically sits in the pool, and from the other side of the pool it would actually come down, and this is where we start to generate electricity into a water turbine. Water turbine. And the house is here. So like, this is the house. And this is like your backyard. I suck at this game. So this is the house, and this is like the front of the property. So like, this is the front here. So this runs down one side. This is a water turbine. And then the water spins and goes into this water, some variant of this water here. All right, so then you have this pond, and then this is set up. This is the basic setup. So this sits here, and like if the system fills up, then like that's what, like, this is the water of this is this water here, which turned, this is just like this, the other source of the water. So this is this here is the inlet to this, and then this runs in to this here. So you have this circuit, and then the water is moving, and inside of this water moving, like, there's a filtration system. Filtration. Black water. Gray water. Like, we do, everything happens in this circle here. Like, you, in this pond area, there'll be a, I don't know if it's here, I don't know where it is, but somewhere you'll have a black water system. So um, you actually take all the stuff and everything runs into a on-site biodigester to collect the methane, and then the everything breaks down to where you get like the fertilizer, sludge shit, and however that works. Like we need the methane and we need the fertilizer, so you get the biodigester for that. And the water will go into like feeding plants. The biodigester stuff is what we need to grow in the farm. So we take all we take that any extra that you have that you're not using for your own food or whatever. Like the excess goes to the company. And I think there'll be a lot of that. And like the methane, the same thing. You keep the methane on the property. That's where you get your extra heat sources for the Stirling engine and making the thing cold. You get methane for that. You also have methane for cooking food inside of the house, um, and 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 I think like that's and anything you don't use, like again, it the goes to the company. We also want to make methane powered vehicles, so like retrofitting your um, um, golf cart or retrofitting your side by side or chainsaws, like power tools or whatever, retrofitting those with methane rather than gasoline, um, because we can produce that for free. It doesn't take any additional funds to do that. So like that's an industry that gets opened up with the necessity of what we need. Like this fixes our problem, and I think demonstrating that if it demonstrates that it works, then even if inside of the third place we're able to demonstrate like these work for what we're trying to do for our business, I feel like there's an entire group of people that aren't part of that don't own our business that are going to want to buy it, so then we can like sell it, and then that's an industry that becomes the 4 hours of work. Like, are you willing to work 4 hours a day to fuck around and build a new style of engine or produce an engine and like do that shit? Like that's how all this wildly spirals out of control. Um, but I think that's the basics of it. And like I thought real hard about it. Like eventually, like I don't think the houses are supposed to be square. I think we eventually make it to be like a little bit of a teardrop shape, like this front south facing, like this faces south. Um, because that's in the northern hemisphere it faces south and the southern hemisphere faces north, obviously. And like eventually we get we are able to we it progresses to the point at which where enough is enough. Like I know we need to make houses round so they don't like blow away and shit. They're more stable, like a whole bunch of other fucking engineering smart things. But like it also needs to be round to maximize the angle of the sun. So we don't want to have to constantly angle, constantly angling a solar tracker. I feel like is very complicated, and we're trying to make it with as little moving parts as possible. Um, but if you make the house, the arch, the way in which the sun arcs across the sky, that's way better than just making this big flat thing. And then like the next step to that is we have to is it better to just angle the mirrors where you just tilt them as the sun goes back and forth, or is it better to move them and tilt them, or just move them? Like what is that? Like that's the next optimal thing. And then you're like, well, will your solar tracking, wouldn't a solar tracker be better at that point? Like maybe, but maybe not. Like, but those are the things that I feel like get explored if it works. Like we just need to show a proof of concept, and this is the power generator here. So you get all of your electricity to the house. This is the electricity and water. Well, that's cold air. Um, And so the way that this all works, like you end up creating a house that like uses the hot water when it's trying to stay warm. So the house literally has like water pipes running up and down the walls because they're going to be made of stone. And if it needs to heat up the house, like you run the like after it after it goes through here, the into the sand battery, like it ends up going if it's at cold and you're trying to do heat, like it runs through the house. So the house collects as much heat out of the water as it can, and then it runs up into the filtration black water, whatever, and then it runs down and like and it creates the electricity, and electricity does all of its shit, and then it comes back in here, and it goes into the Stirling engine, which is up into this pipe. Heat get really hot down into this pipe, up into the sand battery, and like that's the water cycle, and all of that happens with this Stirling engine pumping like just making that pumping the water. And like I said, I think the average house uses something like, I don't know, we'll say 5 kilowatts a day. It's not a lot if you take away heating and cooling, which will be taken care of with a geothermal. So this is the like inside of this water system. We're using this water here. So this water here comes up and runs a geothermal heat pump. Like that, I don't know exactly how it works, but basically you run water from here from a big, huge source of water, and um, it goes through a heat exchanger, and the heat exchanger takes or puts water heat in and out of the air, and then you run a blower on it, and the blower goes. And from what I understand, because um, like it really only needs a fan to push air through, like you can, it runs very efficiently off of electricity, and like the electricity in the house, I mean, I think you just make it as a DC current, direct current, and you run it through. And then the way the electricity works is like if it doesn't get used by you, it goes into the sand battery again. So the unused electricity, so electricity will run here. Oh, it'll run from turbine makes electricity. The electricity goes to the house. If it's not used in the house, it goes into a heating element, which then charges the sand battery. And so like everything is used on in the house. And that's the psychopathic design of the house that I have. And like then you have the house itself. The house itself is not huge. It's made for 1 or 2 people, so you have a bedroom, bedroom, and then this is your door, kitchenette. Now, bathroom. Yeah, yeah, and then a bathroom. water closet, and then your bathroom. That's your shower bathroom. Now, and then your living room is over here. Kitchenette, because we need to make sure that we have enough. I don't know. This isn't like, people need to be together, and those are best times to be together are meals to create. We're creating a third place, so we don't have big kitchens in our houses because it's easier for us to maintain, collect, deliver, and ensure quality of the food if we have it all in one place. We also need to take the extra food and put it into a biodigester and or compost it properly. So like that's all done. Like we keep everything in one spot. So one of the things that would be cooking, and you can be able to, like, we'll have food cooked for you. How figuring out what that is, there definitely is a step to it. That's not part of this process, so we're not going to worry about that. I do have an answer for it, but it's not particular. It's not really involved in this. So like that's why we don't have a kitchen. We also don't have laundry inside because that's going to be another service that we provide. Since we are going to be providing you with food, shelter, and clothing, we want to make sure that your clothing is. We want to make sure that it's clean and taken care of properly. So we're going to do that for you, and that again will be a job for people to take care of, and like that all evolves into whole different other parts of things like we can you can like make your own clothes. Like, oh, that sounds stupid, but like, what if you were making, like, why does it got to be stupid? Why can't we make uh fucking Nike style apparel? And then it's like, why not? The place my brain goes is like everyone's like, it sounds like you want to be China. It's like I I don't know the answer to that question because I don't know what that means, but it's like if you only had to make fabric, if you had to do whatever it is, like the most efficient version of making cloth, and you only had to do it for 4 hours, so you could do whatever you wanted for the next 20, like would you do it? Like I get that there are people that go the other direction where it's like all the time, but like there is a middle ground. Like I said, equal but opposite reaction here. We need to, you call it work-life balance, but we don't have any balance, and there's no um, way in which there's repercussions, and like that's built into the system. Uh, and like I don't want to get into the political part of that whole ordeal, but like uh, the company's broken up into three parts. There's um, the people that make it run. So like society is run off of the people inside of the houses. So 45% of any decision is made by them, and for a decision to be made by them, 50% of them must um, vote in a direction, whether it's indifferent, for or against. Those are the three choices. So you either have an opinion for or against, or you don't have an opinion at all, or you not that you didn't express your opinion. Like those are the three options, and we don't care why you didn't express your opinion. You just didn't do it. Like that doesn't matter. I'm not getting into politics, but I've got all the problems solved. But this is the house that we're going to try to design with like the yard and everything, and then we'll start putting together like villages and shit. Um, 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 what are we doing next? I guess I gotta fucking do this in Blender. Well, this should be a fucking shit show. File. Save. Let's just fucking screenshot this because nobody knows the trouble I've seen. Nobody knows. Let's make some stupid, shitty fucking post about this, because we can. Oops. Yeah, why not? It's fun. I'm just trying to piss people off. All right, so we have that. And let's do a new general. Nope, we don't save it. All right, so I know you hit X to delete an object. Oh, man. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Alright, so we're gonna have to like watch some fucking videos or shit on how to do this. No, I don't want to do this today. I'm tired. Yeah, I think this was fun. We'll do this tomorrow. Alright. Well, now we know what we're looking at, what we're trying to draw, and we'll draw that tomorrow. Because shit's. I gotta do some research and I don't want to fucking. And I'm tired, so. Have fun, peace and love. Remember, there is no action without reaction. So react with purpose, react promptly, and if possible, react politely. If everyone takes care of themselves, everyone would be taken care of. And if you don't like what you see, look somewhere else.